Ever since the video I made yesterday, I have been dying to test out all the applications of the glitch I found. And I have been testing them at some great personal cost. To make this video, I was forced to get rid of the Twisted Bud. Now don't cry, it's okay. The Twisted Bud will be back in a future video. I can rewind this save. And you'll see why I had no choice but to get rid of it in a bit. But what I really wanted to find out in all the testing I was doing were the limits of the Infinite Silk this ability grants you. Because all this ability grants you is that cool UI in the top left and Infinite Silk. So what I wanted to see were things like, what is the best way to get Silk built up fast? I found yesterday that you can't use the hot tub, but what about the Sylph Song? What about what happens to your Silk when you get hit while binding? If you have 50 binds worth of Silk, do you only lose 2 binds worth of Silk? Or do you lose it all? And the first thing I'm going to show off in this video is a bit of a convenient way to farm Silk. Not ideal, but more convenient than just attacking enemies. So, the best guaranteed location to farm Silk is in the Wormways. This is right next to the entrance. If you normally just attack here, you'll get pushed away, but if you get close enough to the edge, you can just up/slash over and over and get your Silk that way. Now, if you were careful, there is Silk around the Bell Beast, right when you get the first ability, the first Silk skill in the game. And if you did not destroy all of them in your playthrough, you can hit those and get Infinite Silk very quickly. But this is a backup. I was dumb and did not have those left. But that means I get the privilege of standing here for 3 minutes straight up/slashing until I can get a bar that reaches the end of the screen. Now you may ask, Kilroy, why do you want a bar that long? First of all, none of your business. I can have my bar as long as I want, and I will be happy with it. And second of all, it's because I wanted to test something. So, while we have the bar like this, completely obscuring our path, who needs to see when you're a god of Silk? I wanted to see what happens to all this Silk when I get hit while binding. And isn't that just the most depressing thing you've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen? Something like 100 pips of Silk deleted in an instant. You know what? I don't even want to be here anymore, man. That was like 5 minutes of work for nothing. I'm just gonna let Hornet die here. Oh, and while I let Hornet die, something else I learned about this state, one of the few positives in this video, is that you don't lose access to any of the special properties upon reloading. You will lose it if you save quit, but for whatever reason, that's the only thing that gets rid of it. You can transport areas, you can die, it's just gonna stay the same. You're gonna keep your Infinite Silk access. And going back to what happened about 30 seconds ago, I'm just gonna come up with some lore excuse and say that no, there's no justifying why Hornet would lose hundreds of pips of Silk instantly. So I want to see if that's the case for everything that can make you lose all of your Silk. And did you know that by having the ability Rune Rage equipped, if you get hit while trying to cast it, it will give the same effect as if you got hit while binding. That is to say, losing all your Silk. Will that happen here? I don't know, because I missed the opportunity to get hit mid-cast. Get hit, please, Hornet. Just stop successfully doing this. There you go. It still gets rid of all of your Silk. I did not have a mountain of Silk to lose that time, but it does function the exact same with this special crest on. And at this point, I figured, you know, I've been working with losing Silk. What about gaining Silk? The Sylph Song is an ability that is specifically meant to give you Silk while sitting on a bench. So what happens when you have infinite Silk? I've learned today that the process to get the Sylph Song is painful in many ways, not least of which is the personal loss of my child. I have to say goodbye to the Twisted Bud, because in order to unlock Sylph Song in Act 2, you need to have every crest, and that includes the Witch Crest. I'm sorry, my son. I will be seeing you again soon.
Smile on. Smile on.
With great sacrifice, we have made our way to Ava, and she is ready to give herself to us. And while I'm sort of joking about the great sacrifice, I do genuinely mean getting this in a normal gameplay, especially from a fresh playthrough, is awful. You need to get you need to get like at least 15 memory lockets in Act 2. You need to get all the crests, which include the Architect crest, which requires you to have more than 20 tools. And if you're like me and picked up none, that's terrible. You also need to have the Witch crest, which means you have to go through the entire process of getting infected and healing it. Basically, Architect and Witch suck getting on a fresh playthrough. But hey, I had to do it to see if I could generate infinite silk just by resting at a bench. And I am finally back at the scene of the crime, just after binding and escaping Grandmother Silk's boss fight. I am here with Silksong, so once I get myself in a stable state, I will see what happens. Now, to begin with, I'm gonna rest and see if Silk goes up at the Terminus bench, but you should know the Silk on my HUD right now is fake. All the Silk that is given to you in the cutscene when you're defeating Grandmother Silk is not really usable. So I expect if I'm gonna get Silk, it should be filling my bar up at this point. It does not appear to be giving me Silk, as is Eva's whole purpose, now that I have bound her into myself. But hey, maybe she just forgot. Maybe the Silk is still in a glitchy state, because I just defeated Grandmother Silk, you know? And hoping, beyond hopes, that that is true, I'm coming over here so I can hit an enemy and activate this Silk, because that's what it does. It was unusable before, it is fully usable now. I don't understand it either. But hey, I am fully empty in my Silk spool at this point. Ava, time to come in. She is not coming in. Yeah, the title of this video wasn't an exaggeration. It is massively disappointing how much is just strictly turned off once you unlock these godlike powers. And I was confused as well where the 2 pips of silk came from. And then I remembered, oh, Kilroy, duh, you have 2 silk hearts. But then I realized something else. Why isn't my silk regenerating from my silk hearts? It regenerates when I'm sitting on a bench, and that gives me 2 pips of silk. But if I just get rid of them by taunting, they don't come back. I'm gonna have to come up with a new lore explanation for why the silk hearts are deactivated once you absorb Grandmother Silk's power. But yeah, for gameplay purposes, kinda sucks. It means, like, using silk is much harder unless you've built up a massive stockpile. So what else is there to get silk? Alright, listen, Krieg. Getting Hornet drunk is my Hail Mary. If you buy a drink here, it normally gives you silk. So if I get Hornet to drink right now, what's gonna happen? Nothing at all. Well, for all intents and purposes, at least this means that Hornet is fully immune to getting inebriated under the Weaver Queen, and that is a skill that cannot be said about any other crest in the game. So, I think that's the main takeaway from this video. Hornet is now immune to getting drunk with the Weaver Queen crest, and I think that's the main reason why Team Cherry basically decided to remove this from the game. They didn't want to put Hornet through that. They wanted to let her have fun every once in a while, you know. Let a girl just go crazy. And that's all, basically. That's most of all the silk sources I could think of. All of them, except for hitting enemies with your nail, are turned off. So, you may have infinite silk access, but getting it, not easy. It's almost like a monkey's paw wish. Thanks for watching, everyone.